Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome to the Career Cruise podcast. My name is Violette Wambua. I am the founder of Networking in Heels, which is a women's empowerment and mentorship forum where we hold events every 3 months. But we decided to bring the conversations that happen at the event to extend them onto the podcast so that more people can benefit from them and grow from them. Today's discussion will be about embracing change. So welcome, put on your thinking cap, open your ears, let's engage, let's share together, let's see how to embrace change, obviously for the betterment of our lives and ourselves. Change. I don't like change. I don't think I like change. And the only times I'd say I like change is when it's benefiting me. Change my dress, I want a different dress, change my shoes, maybe change my makeup, I don't know. But generally, change is a bit hard, but it is necessary, it is inevitable, it is, it could actually be the difference between you getting a job or not, you maintaining your job or not, you maintaining your client or not. And change is also a matter of life and death if you take it to the extreme side of it, yeah? So change is here with us. And I know we used to be told in primary school the biggest room in the world is a room for improvement, a room for change, and all that. But, once we've gotten comfortable into our habits, into our preferences, the things we like to do, the things we find easy for us, the things we've mastered, then changing again becomes a whole other hassle that's not always welcome, Even moving houses is not necessarily, fine. Yeah, we're like, I want to level up. I want to move on, move on up. And then now the time comes that you actually to carry your things out of the house that you live in to a whole other address. It's a big deal. There's emotional tension there when it comes to change, even if we're changing for the better. Even when you change your salary from the time you're earning the 10K and then now you're earning 50K, it's a big jump. And you sort of, your mind was used to managing this 10K. Now you have to start managing 50,000. And, if you're not well prepared, the change can throw you off course. And you find yourself operating at a worse level than you were when you were earning 10K earlier. The thing with change that many times we have a warning, or rather we have an idea that the change is going to happen. So we have time to prepare ourselves. We have time to think in advance, to make plans, to know, okay, this is going to change. This, we are moving things here and there. So you sort of have an idea of how to walk yourself through. You've walked yourself through it mentally. So when it happens, you're not thrown off. But sometimes, and actually many times for a lot of people, change can be sudden. And of course, sudden change is not wow. It could be suddenly changing for the better, suddenly changing for the worse, but that's suddenness. So there's no warning, there's no time to think about it, to fantasize, to prepare. You just have to go with the flow, and if you're stiff about it, you could actually be wiped out like the dinosaurs were wiped out. So a lot of change happens. It happens in this way in the business world, in your professional sector, in your studies, at home. A lot of changes happen. Think about now, we have a lot of things that we use these days that are part of our lives that were not there even 30, 20 years ago. Everybody now has a phone, so that means now phone booths have been phased out. So I don't know, the people who used to run the business is called Simu ya Jamii. I don't know what they're doing now. I personally feel, as a host of Career Cruise, so not as Career Cruise, but as a host, that we should have those Simu ya Jamii type of phones. I'm thinking about times when maybe your phone has run out of charge and you need to talk to somebody. Maybe where you are, there are no mobile. What are those charging systems? And you just need to get a phone call out. So, if you're able to talk to somebody using sort of like a common phone that you can pay for, why not? Or even use it to make a reverse call. The person who's receiving will pay for it via accepting your call. I think there is space for that, but I know that now more and more people have their own phones, so those kinds of phones are out. So that's a change that happened in the market. So, and I'm just using that as an example because I know there are very many other changes that happen in our lives on a daily basis. Some changes are too small to be noticed, others are huge enough to cause, a rupture in how we operate and how we live our lives. So what we're discussing today is just about how to embrace change, so then we be able to navigate through our lives even in the face of uncertainty, because changes bring a bit of uncertainty, and we sort of like need tools and sort of like a guardrail so that we don't fall off into the abyss of what that change has brought. So then we can come out on the other side with our wits about us, our sanity intact, and then we're able to move on to the next phase of our lives. So let's talk about change. Change is inevitable. Obviously, our lives would be stagnant if we didn't have change, and our lives would not be interesting even if we didn't have change. So when it's happening, it's not funny, but then we just really, really need change. I mean, even the climate is changing, guys. Technology is changing. The business landscape is changing. Things are always just changing. Like, it's too much. But you know what? It is what it is. It's like the ever-present phenomena. So it's omnipresent. It changes everywhere. No matter where you go, if you go to Brazil, there's change. You go to India, there's change. You go to Russia, there's change. So you go to China, there's change. You come to Kenya, there's change. So there's change everywhere. So I think we just need to embrace it, and have tools to embrace it, so then we don't get lost in the maze of everything that's happening. So that we also don't have ambiguity about our lives. We don't have doubts. We're not living with anxiety because we don't know what's going to change next. So let's find out how to embrace change and uncertainty. One important tool I want to share with you, and I actually wrote it down here, is accept that you cannot control everything. Yes, it's important to feel like you have a bit of control over your life. You have control about the clothes you can wear, but even then, that is not under your control anymore. The weather decides, or the fashion of the day, or the events that you're going for, what you're going to do that day, your activity for the day. All that decides your clothes that you're going to wear. But you have control over so many things. But just accept that not everything can be under your control, and it's okay. It might be frustrating, but it's okay. It's okay to not, it's okay. Not everything can be under your control. So once you have that acceptance in mind, it helps you to embrace change and uncertainty as it comes. Because the world is moving like this, ever moving, ever changing, fast paced. So that can really throw you off your internal balance. But once you know that you can, not everything is under your control, then you're better able to manage your mental state of mind and your emotions as well. And just know that the only way to achieve success in this life is to just let go. So there's a lot of successes we achieve when we let go. We just know, okay, that's beyond my pay grade, that's above me now, that's not for me to control, so let that go, and I'll take success with whatever that is available for me to control. Whatever I can manage, I'll manage. Whatever I can't manage, I can't manage. So that way, you achieve better stability emotionally and mentally when it comes to embracing change and uncertainty in your life, in your business, in your career, everywhere you are. The thing is, with our discussions here at Career Cruise, they might be for tips for your career and for your business and maybe your studies, but we also notice that all these tips can be carried over into other spheres of our lives. So when you're listening to us and you're discussing with us, it's not a thing of only apply at work or in your business. No. You can apply in every area of your life, and you achieve success also in those other areas. Something about when it comes to embracing change, identify the negative and identify the positive. So things are happening. What are the good things out of it? What are the bad things out of it? So discuss amongst yourselves, discuss with yourself again, discuss with your support system, and identify the negative things, but focus on the positive things. So that you can weed out the negative things quickly and manage them quickly, so they don't overwhelm you. Because when it's too much negativity now, then you're overwhelmed, you're in constant anxiety, can even be plunged into depression, which is unfortunate. So think about how you can progress, think about your life, what is positive out of this? How can it propel me to the next step forward in a wonderful way? Where are you stuck? What are new things that are happening that you couldn't identify before? How can you use the information you already have to get yourself stuck out of these negative parts of the change that is going on? Because change has to happen. It's still, that's constant. It's happening. The uncertainty is there. So how do you navigate? Find out what is negative, what is positive. How can I weed out whatever is not working for me, and how can I navigate out of this situation? So as you're making the alterations in your life, in your courses, so once you see what's negative, you're able to quickly take action and make changes that will have positive outcomes for you. So maybe minimize the negative or eliminate it altogether. So take it out or suppress it, so that then you stay afloat, and maybe you even find yourself thriving through the change and through the uncertainty altogether. The other thing that you can do is just check your fear. There's a lot of fear that comes with change, because again, everything is new, everything is just, it's uncomfortable, everything is uncertain, everything is a lot of this is happening and we don't even know what it's like. It's jelly like, so you don't know how to manage what. When you try to hold on to this, it slips through your hand, so it can make you very afraid, and it's valid. The fear is valid. But what I can say is, I think I remember a quote somewhere, by the former president of the United States, John F. Kennedy, says, I think it's John, I hope so. Nothing worthwhile has ever been achieved or accomplished with a guarantee of success. Like, there are no guarantees in life. We only hope, and we work in alignment with this hope. The things we're hoping for is that what we're working towards, working towards our successes, with hope as our compasses and as our companion. So that means then that there's an element of risk in everything that you're doing. And so, yes, you do have to fear because there's a risk happening. But hey, why not? Just embrace the change and just see what happens on the other side of it. So again, you have to check that throughout your life and your career, your business life, you're constantly assessing what the risks are, what the changes could be, what is uncertain. It's like you're always doing a SWOT analysis. We learned about SWOT analysis in school. So we say you check your strengths, check your weaknesses, check your opportunities, and check your threats. So when you're constantly doing a SWOT analysis, it helps you to have a healthy perspective, helps you to check your fears, because sometimes the things that are threats, they exist, but the opportunities are far, far, far more than that. Your weaknesses are far fewer than you're thinking. Your strengths are higher. So you're operating at a good net positive position. So the when you think about the risks in your life and what would give you a chance to fail, the opportunity to fail, once you check that, the first few answers, you're able to eliminate them very quickly and able to counter them. So and you push forward. So change is happening all over the world. Things are happening that we're not used to. We don't even know how to deal with them. But then, as we take everything a step at a time, a day at a time, you realize that, oh wow, I was fearing for the way you're able to move. You're like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna make this change in my life. Maybe it means moving to another country. That's a whole other change. You might fail, you might succeed, but who knows? So go ahead with it. I'm going to make a change in my life. I'm going to study a new course. I might fail at it. I might change my career. I might fail at it. I might succeed. But who knows? The only way you know is if you do it. So when you have that attitude that the worst thing you can do is fail, the only way to know is if you do it, it's different. It makes it different. It makes it you become bolder to make the changes in your life. You become more aware of the risks and even better able to mitigate against them because you are going forward. But if you're stuck, if you're afraid of failure, then you can't move and you stay same old same. And you're thinking that was something I thought about doing in 2010. The time has passed. We are now literally going to 2030. The time has passed and you still haven't done the thing that you wanted to do because you're afraid. So check your failure and change your attitude towards, check your fear, change your attitude towards failure, embrace it. I'm not saying you'll revel in failing. No, nobody wants to fail. It's not interesting when you fail. Like, it's humiliating. We get that. I would know that personally. It's crazy when you fail. But if you take failure as a way to learn and say, okay, this is a learning moment, so this and this happened, so I'm going to do this differently the next time. So, you keep on crafting your journey, doing constant SWOT analysis, constant assessments. So then as you're acting, you're assessing the results and seeing what to do next that way. So then failure doesn't become a deterrent for you to progress in life, for you to take risks, for you to take opportunities, for you to take a chance on yourself, So there's nothing you've been afraid to do. Please just do it. Don't be afraid of failure, So long as there's positive outcomes, that are part of the guarantee, go for it, So, and, take the risks, embrace uncertainty by taking risks. It's an investment. You say, oh, I don't want to lose 50,000. But when you think about it, you've spent 50,000 in restaurants, eating food that you risked. Could have been bad food even, so you risked getting bad service. You spent 50,000 on road trips. You risk getting into accidents and not even arriving at your destination. So why are you afraid to invest 50,000, in things that have been researched, in things that have been, someone has gone ahead and done the research for you, and like, if you invest here, these are the outcomes that are, you may not invest all of it, invest even half of it, but just take a risk. Please take a risk, take a chance on yourself, take a chance that will that promises to improve your life. Commit to something that's different. Take a change. Commit to something. Commit to a change in your budget. Commit to a change in your diet. Commit to a change in your living conditions. Commit to a change in your friendship circles and in how you socialize. Commit to a change in terms of the things you spend time on, in terms of your hobbies, in terms of your learning. Just commit to a change. And it's a risk, definitely, but when you commit to it and you embrace the risk that will come into it, embrace the uncertainty that comes with everything different, you stand to gain better things. You stand to tell a better story of your life. You stand to learn. You stand to grow. You stand to just be a different person, hopefully a better person. I mean, embrace change, imagine, and you'll find yourself, you really have yourself to thank when you're on the other side of it all and you've grown so much. You're wiser, you're stronger, your perspectives in life are different. You are now even able to mentor others through embracing change and uncertainty, and else, with the people who embrace change early, they become the first to experience any positivity that was going to come out with it. There's a new technology, they quickly embrace it, and now they're the ones at the forefront, gaining from it, even monetarily, and teaching the rest of us how to possibly gain from it. But they were already miles and miles ahead of us in terms of how, because they adopted quickly, they were flexible enough to just say, okay, this is what's happening, let's go for it. So they didn't ask too many questions. They said twende, and that's it. But it's also good to have conversations with yourself, maybe in your journal, like I said earlier, in an earlier episode. Ask yourself, really, what conversations and situations are you avoiding? What is it you're running away from? What is making you feel jittery? Just ask yourself those questions, answer yourself those questions quietly, privately, and honestly, because nobody's going to come and check. This is just between you and yourself. That will help you manage change, help you embrace change in your life. Ask yourself, where can I take leadership and open up myself for more opportunities to lead? So maybe you just like being in the background, then you don't want the spotlight on yourself. Take a change, do something different. Step up, speak up in a meeting, step up for a role and say, we're planning this and this, so I'm going to take this part of it, and shine with it, so that way it's a different beat in terms of how you move. It's a change of pace, but embrace it. It'll open you up. It's obviously you're going to be criticized in terms of the things you do, or you're going to be praised. It's different. It's different than being quiet and never noticed all the days of your life, so that, and and also ask yourself, what should I do if I didn't have anything to fear? If you didn't fear being broke, if you didn't fear being laughed at, if you didn't fear failing, if you didn't fear, I don't know what your fears are, but if you didn't have any fear at all, you need to ask yourself and answer yourself in the journal, what's the one thing you do if there was no fear in your head at all? What is that thing, or what are those 2 things or 3 things that you'd actually do if there was no fear at all in your mind or in your heart about it? So take the risks, of course, take the right risks and stretch yourself, expand your horizons, go places physically and virtually, and you find yourself accomplishing a lot more in your career, in your business. As a business person, you can take the risk of saying, let's do a joint venture with someone else. Let's see how our goods cross-sell for each other. You might actually be exposed to a different market altogether that you had no even access into, and that would be so profitable for you. The worst thing that can happen is that, okay, your goods have gone there, you've not taken up so well, and the JV, the joint venture, is not a permanent thing, or a special purpose vehicle, it's not a permanent thing. So you can always cut it off and continue your business as you know it. But take that risk, open up yourself to different markets, to different people, to different opportunities, to different ideas. I think, because now you already have a positive attitude towards failure, and that's only the worst thing can happen. Your business won't shut down, your career won't shut down. If say I'd like to go and do some work in that other department, the worst thing can happen is you being told no. But if you actually went there, you'd actually realize, you're actually talented in that area. You start to realize opportunities that, areas that you could improve so that you can even do better and enjoy your working life even more. So it's okay. Just embrace risk, embrace changes. When you hear downsizing is happening, you're not worried what will happen to you. There's a saying that says, the bird on a tree is not worried about the branch being cut off, because the bird trusts its wings. It can fly. It already learned how to fly the time its mother kicked it out of the nest, and it knew, if I don't spread my wings here, the next thing that's going to happen to me is to fall on those rocks and be crushed to death. But then the birds now quickly learn how to fly. And just as yourself and us as human beings, we learn how to fly, we learn new skills that if something happens in the area of work that you are in, or the area of business that you're focusing in, and things are not favorable, quickly shift to this other one, and for those of us who've lived through the pandemic as professionals, we quickly know that COVID taught us to upskill, not just rely on one skill for ourselves, but learn many others as quickly as possible, so then we're able to shift literally, or rather be able to survive in a different industries, having now more skills to hold on to or fall back on, or even use to gain more mastery, gain more access, gain more prosperity in the sense of money, and even in the sense of having career longevity and survival, and even thriving in our careers. So obviously, uncertainty in anything is very uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable when it's happening, and no one really knows what the outcomes will be. But because change is inevitable, really, I just want to insist yet again that we embrace change. We use change to our advantage, that we don't see change as an enemy, but we use change as an ally. Changes are happening, so how can this change be my ally? How can this uncertainty be my ally, be my friend? So then I am not perturbed all the time or worried all the time, but I'm actually thinking in a more proactive manner how to not just get by, but even how to do very well and even prosper as the change is going on. I think we saw COVID millionaires a few years ago. We've seen people who, when there's so much chaos, that's when they're thriving so much, because they already have a positive attitude towards change and a positive attitude towards fear. A positive handle on their fear and a positive attitude towards failure. So they're not worried about what would happen. They quickly join the fray, and they roll with the punches. And, before we blink once, twice, they're already on top of the mountain. They're doing amazing. They now are even industry leaders because they were not afraid and they took the risks and they went in there. So don't calculate too much, because it will give you a paralysis of analysis. You're analyzing too much and now you're paralyzed with fear. You don't know where to move, and you can't even move anyway. So don't let your fears hold you back. Don't let the distress of the changing periods hold you back from the good things that you'd actually have achieved if you just embraced the times and went with what's going on. Obviously, you discuss with a few people here and there. You can let your emotions out in your journal. You can do a bit of research, but please don't resist change. Don't resist change. If you resist change, you'll be wiped out like the dinosaurs were wiped out. If you resist change, you'll be obsolete. The pagers are now obsolete. Doctors are no longer using pagers. Business people are no longer using pagers. There's a lot of things that were wiped out because they resisted change. And yes, they were doing everything right, but because they resisted change, they resisted the opportunity to alter how they're operating in one or another, then they were taken over and the market no longer has any need for them, and people no longer have need for them because they're not useful in the state that they are in. And even for you as a human being, do not resist change. If you need to change. Change your healthy habits, change your attitudes, change your mindset, so that then you are, you become more versatile and you're able to thrive in different situations. So then you're not cut off from enjoying life just because you wouldn't change your perspective or your attitude towards the very many phenomena in life. So yeah, you can feel free to write and tell me a time in which you thrived through change, or you felt like you should have done better. Let's talk about embracing change. It's a difficult topic. This cannot be the only episode we discuss it. So I'm happy to discuss it in another episode, and maybe even with a trained professional who can give us more tools on how to manage change. For now, like this episode, share it with other people who would enjoy learning about change and how to embrace it so that they can thrive. Share with other people so that they can be lifted out of their moments of where they're afraid and they're wondering what to do next. Let other people know about this episode, subscribe, and let's reach more people. So until the next time, happy cruising.